Take advantage of our warm weather and experience Portland from a totally new perspective. From our beautiful river, the Portland Spirit is offering some great daily and weekend cruises. They've got lunch cruises, brunch cruises, daily happy hour, and sunset dinner cruises. Or you can crank up the excitement with a jet boat ride to the Columbia River Gorge, which I highly recommend. Book your adventure at portlandspirit.com. That's portlandspirit.com. Hello, everyone. Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about the upcoming I-5 closure, the recent raid on the infamous Red House, which was the site of large-scale protests back in 2020. And we're also looking into a St. Helens treatment center that is busing patients to our city and then straight up abandoning them without any resources. I'm your host, Claudia Meza. With me are Willamette Week reporter and author Brianna Wheeler and our very own senior producer, Giulia Fiaoni. How's it going, you guys?
Awesome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Now, before we jump in, I have an update. We're actually taping this on Wednesday morning, and Portland City Council just voted in favor of the no turn on red ordinance for high crash corridor intersections. That's something we discussed last week as being on the docket. I think we were all on board. Like, not one person was like, yeah, that's a terrible idea. We actually all thought, like, it should have already been a law, but it was followed by this quip from Councilor Steve Novick. He said, I think Councilor Green should have declared a conflict in the last item because as Green, he is obviously biased against red.
Oh my God. I can't believe I laughed. Ugh.
Here's the deal.
Cheap.
It did get laughs. That man can't resist a good dad joke. In his defense, they were actively trying to kill a minute before the next scheduled item. They're kind of like a bus stop. Like if they're like, hey, we do this at 9:50, they have to wait till 9:50 because they're always running so late that I had no idea they actually could run on time. But yeah, that's what they were doing. Anyhow.
Now I'm just picturing Counselor Novick at a bus stop when you're waiting for a couple minutes, getting on the bus to tell a joke, and then getting off.
And that was my minute. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So Counselor Green actually responded, like jokingly, but definitely a jab, with something like, that just shows I can overcome my personal biases in the interest of the city as a whole.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm sure there were some counselors who wanted to in agreement, but they didn't. And I was so proud of everyone. So that's your hot goss for today. Anyhow, I usually kick things off with an opening question, but on Thursdays, that part of the show is just for our CityCast Portland neighbors. Those are our paying members who help keep this show going. Along with extra content, they're also getting ad-free listening, invites to member-only events, and so much more. Right now, if you join, they're giving away free pennants, and I believe we have 4 tote bags left. Again, taping this Wednesday morning, so they could be gone by the time you're listening to this, but you can head over to membership.citycast.fm/Portland. That's membership.citycast.fm/Portland for all the details. It's pretty cheap to join. Plus, you get to help us keep this resource free for everyone. And today's opening question is actually all about the upcoming I-5 closure on all southbound lanes between the 405 and 84 interchanges. That's right by the Rose Quarter. It's part of the Rose Quarter Improvement Project. They're closing those I-5 southbound lanes for around 5 weeks starting September 11th. I just wanted to make sure everyone, paying member or not, heard about that closure before we move into the member-only content. Okay, Brianna, you have an epic story for us. Just so you know, you and I are going to have to share all of this backstory because Giulia has never heard of the Red House before. I know we have a ton of listeners who are brand new to the area. So, yeah, I'm going to help you, of course.
My duty and my pleasure to bring this story and also to be able to share it with you because I know that you were part of that OG reporting. So, the Red House, let's get into it. So, in case you missed it, the Red House is an 1800s era home. It's on Mississippi. It's one of the few remaining homes that's owned by a Black family. They've owned it since 1955. They bought it in cash because when they bought it, banks were not giving home loans to Black families. Okay? Put a pin in that and remember it. So, in 2020, the Red House became kind of a lightning rod for the racial justice protests that were happening around that time. And what was kind of happening around the Red House was sort of being modeled after what was happening in Seattle's autonomous zone. So if you want to like rewind and think about that for a second.
It did look a lot like it, yeah.
Yeah, it did. It was all a result of the Kinneys being foreclosed upon in 2018. In 2020, Multnomah County sheriffs, they decide they're going to enforce this court-ordered eviction. And this is when demonstrations start popping off. Demonstrators are camping out at the property for days. They're trying to prevent this eviction. It becomes the story of housing and racial justice. It becomes the story of Portland's history with fair housing, predatory banking, land ownership, segregation, gentrification. It becomes all of these conversations at once.
Yeah, and can I tag in real quick?
Get in there.
So the Kinneys, that's who owns the Red House. They are also indigenous. So that also, like, it was just so much fuel for a lot of activism, you know, like this Black family, indigenous, and also the way they kind of lost their house was a little messed up because, you know, I know you're going to jump into that, Brianna, but just know that they had to take a loan out. Brianna's probably going to tell you why, but it was reported and documented that their mortgage was passed around to several companies, and at one point, 2 different companies were demanding payment. So they just like stopped paying because they were hella confused as to who was their actual lender. And then, of course, the pandemic happened. So it's a big reason why so many people devoted their energy to this. It wasn't just like white Portlanders being like, and another thing, you know what I mean? Like it was, there was just a lot of valid injustice that appeared to be happening.
Right. Yeah. So members of the Kinney family, they took out a mortgage on the home to pay legal bills after their son, who goes by the name William X. Nietzsche, that's a choice, was arrested in 2002 for a hit-and-run collision. That was his fault. So factor that into this conversation, too. I mean, there are so many layers to the conversation. So it doesn't just stop at, oh, they got foreclosed upon. Oh, their mortgage was getting handed around like hot potato until it's split in half and multiple people are handling it. It's just confusion on confusion on confusion, on trauma on trauma on trauma. And it paints a picture of Portland at a time and place that cannot be unseen, that cannot be unpainted. So that painting still exists. That house still exists. All of these dramas, all of these traumas, they still exist. So when Portland police raid the Red House last week, it is more than news. It's like deep, heartbreaking. It's the story of our city unfurling again in these really negative, ugly ways that we're really going to have to like get into the talking points of this because it's going to get kind of gross and gnarly. So William Kinney is the patriarch of this family. Portland police reported that he has harassed and threatened to shoot employees and contractors working with the nonprofit SEI, Self-Enhancement, Inc. They have the property neighboring the Red House. But we also must note that SEI works almost exclusively, or I think exclusively, with low-income Black and brown families to provide social, housing, and economic support. This is not big business coming in here to piss all over the property next to the Red House. What happened was, in 2021, after most of the brouhaha, SEI was gifted underdeveloped property, maybe like the equivalent of over 7,000 square feet of property that was next to the Red House. SEI says they're going to bring their partners in and we're going to build affordable housing. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. The Kinney family says that SEI executives had promised that SEI would act as a neutral, charitable intermediary, and that the Kinney family would be partners in a community development project on the adjacent lot. According to Kinney's lawyers, all of this conversation fell through. Didn't work out that way. So SEI begins development on this adjacent lot last month, and around that same time, it's reported that Kinney starts intimidating the work crews. He's threatening the staff. He's warning of property damage. So there are court papers. It's on record that while SEI was still like in the planning stages of the construction, Kinney was already out there intimidating construction workers, driving them off of the vacant parcel with threats, threatening to burn down any building constructed by SEI. SEI is meeting with like geological engineers, bank representatives, and Kinney's out there threatening them. And this one is, I don't know. I don't know how hard of a pill this is to swallow, but it's said that Kinney threatened to do a drive-by and shoot SEI employees. And this is all according to the SEI attorney, Simone McCormick.
And Kinney, the patriarch, is a felon.
Yeah, he is a convicted felon. And it's like oh gosh, it's the felonies are, it's a drug possession, it's a gun possession, it's an assault. To read it, it would seem like street fight type of assault, Mm-hmm. So I don't want to say that any of those things are negligible, but also consider how those things can be weaponized, how much more severe they can sound out of this shaped mouth versus that shaped mouth.
Well,
anyway.
I mean, sure. But also, he is a felon. They found guns at the house. There's a reason why, the police did what they did. It's like They went into this house because they're just like, okay, so there's this felon who people are saying, hey, he has weapons. He's threatening us with said weapons. Even if he's got his felony because he accidentally, he did something, he's still a convicted felon.
There were still a gang of guns in that house.
Mm-hmm. There were so many guns in that house,
So many guns in that house.
There were so many guns in that house. And he was just like, oh no, that belongs to my mom. Oh no, that one belongs to
my brother.
I don't know I don't know who. And it's just
and
there's just guns chilling on the couch. There's just guns chilling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and body armor. Body armor.
It's not normal.
No, it's not normal.
Away.
But this is my favorite, excuse for the body armor is that he was like, oh, this is from the protests, so.
Well, this shit that's been sitting here for 6 years?
6 years?
I just left it here. Yeah.
Well, there's actually a bit more to explain, but we're going to take a quick break here. And when we come back, we're going to continue this story and just explain just a bit more and what it just says about Portland and how we have the best intentions sometimes and they just don't play out. I'd like to introduce you to Stacked Piercing, a new luxury piercing studio in Portland's Alberta Arts District. It's local and woman-owned, welcoming everybody exactly as they are. Stacked is calm and spa-like, so no chaotic vibes, no piercing guns, just expert care in a space built to put you completely at ease. A relaxed atmosphere for ages 8 and up. Custom curated ear and nose looks are their specialty, which are guided every step of the way, and the Stack method follows your natural anatomy for placement that lasts and supports your healing long after you leave. They have beautiful, high-quality jewelry for modern mood, Buddha jewelry, and Tawapa, with hundreds of designs meeting the standards of the Association of Professional Piercers, which I've heard in this world is a big deal, so you're walking out day one in your dream piece. And CityCast listeners can take 20% off their first booking at stackedpiercing.com. Just use the code CityCast20. It's for services only. Jewelry is not included. That's stackedpiercing.com. Get ready to loosen that belt because the Portland Mercury's Burger Week is back and beefier than ever. From August 10 through 16, an epic lineup of Portland area establishments will be slinging one-of-a-kind burgers for just $10 each. And vegans and vegetarians, don't worry, they got burgers for you too. We can all big back together. And you guys, I've previewed at least 6 of these burgers already, and they're so good. Map out your burger eating route at portlandburgerweek.com, and this year you can get a cute little burger journal to write all your important burger thoughts at all participating locations. Again, hit up portlandburgerweek.com for all the details. All right, we're back. Brianna, let's talk about this house raid. What exactly happened? What was going on there?
So, Kinney's making all of these threats. The police raid the house. They find sawed-off shotgun, I believe. They find a number of different guns. They find body armor from 2020, left over from the protests, apparently, according to Kinney. Either way, you can explain this raid as being justified. There have been multiple threats. There have been a physical, in-your-face type threats. And now we've got weapons to kind of back it up. And then kind of like a coup de grace, I guess, on July 6th, Kinney threw stones at SEI contractors that were excavating the property. God. And they just were okay, fuck this. We're doing a restraining order. Enough. So Kinney's ordered not to enter any SEI property. He's to refrain from threatening, harassing, intimidating, all of these things. Now, Kinney, in his own sworn court declaration, argued that he never did it. He never intimidated any SEI worker. He wrote that he attended a Zoom meeting with SEI officials in 2021, and that one of The executives, Tony Hobson, then promised Kinney that he would be steering this community development project, that the Kinneys would work together with SEI on this undeveloped parcel that's right next to their house. And that a room would be, because of course this project is fair housing, right? So they're gonna dedicate a room to memorialize the Kinney family. Kinney argues that this 5-story building, this apartment building that they're building next to his house, effectively makes his family home straight up unlivable. And I think that there's conversations to be had about that. If you've ever lived next to a construction zone, especially one of this nature, of this like breadth, it sucks. It sucks so much, and it can absolutely be unlivable. All of this said, Kinney was arrested last Tuesday, released from the detention center, posting 10% of his bail. It goes back to court on Thursday, and then I guess we'll follow up and figure it all out. Meanwhile, we are still in 2026 having conversations about the Red House, having conversations about what the Red House means to Portland, what it means to a gentrified Mississippi, what it means to like housing justice, gentrification, segregation. I guess like just how easy these things can like dissolve and turn ugly. And it's very he said, she said.
Well, it's more than he said, she said, because there's documented cases of what he and or she said. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, just because someone says like, nuh-uh, doesn't mean that it's right.
Right. I hate so much that it is that it's like.
Yeah,
well,
that there is a back and forth.
Exactly,
yeah.
You know?
Well, a little detour here. So back in 2020, when the encampment was happening, when like, you know, all these protests were happening right in front of the house, OPB was covering the crap out of it. I used to work there. And in the conversation, because more and more they were uncovering stuff like unsavory facts about the family. So they were just like doing due diligence, looking into it. And OPB found out that the Kinneys had a second home fully paid off. And this was important because the Kinneys had raised, at that point, $280,000 to buy back the Red House. A lot of those donations were coming in because of their claims that if they were evicted and lost the Red House, that they would all be out on the street again, December, Christmas. Like people were just like, what? You know, so that really like also kind of just elevated that whole conversation. And OPB got so much flack for reporting like this factual truth that they actually had to apologize, which was crazy. So the criticism was that they were trying to discredit the family and also undermine the historical racism that took place. But like, that's not what was happening. OPB was literally just doing their jobs by investigating all the leads and reporting facts. But because now the Kinneys no longer neatly fit the narrative that a lot of Portland activists were championing, they got pissed, not at the Kinneys for lying to them, but to OPB for pointing it out. And I was working at OPB at the time, and it really bummed so many of the reporters out, some who were like also people of color. And I can't even begin to explain the fury and frustration that one feels as a person of color when a white person calls you a racist because you're not conforming to their political views.
Talk about it.
Yeah. But in all of this, the reason like they were also like, hey, this isn't cool is because the Kinneys were like, yeah, we own that house, but it's not like our house. Like it's like a family house and a family lives there. So we couldn't possibly live there. So like there was a lot, you know what I'm seeing? Again, Brianna, a lot of back and forth, a lot of nuance, a lot of gray area. Nothing was fitting neatly. And I just feel like that is like such a Portland conversation when it comes to race. And again, great intentions, but there's a lot of like, and I don't mean this as a pun, but there's like a lot of like black and white, no gray, no nuance, you know? And it you just, when it comes to an issue, and it really could, it feels like it dumbs us all down.
Right.
And we never really get to the heart of the issue because we're all just like offended.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. So for sure, we're going to keep an eye on this. When will the Red House stop being talked about? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, Giulia has got another story that's like a total head scratcher because it's also going to, I think, push a lot of buttons here on our perceived notions of what's going on in our city.
Oh boy, bring it on.
Giulia, what is going on? I saw this headline and I just was like, don't make the Republican Party correct.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's like
a tough pill to swallow.
It's like a talking. I'll let you explain why. I was just like, oh man,
it doesn't
this is
seem real.
It doesn't.
No,
it's like a talking point that like the right uses on Portland, and it's coming to life. All right, go on.
Okay, let me lay this out for you. So my segment comes from some reporting by Evan Watson at KGW, and they've been looking into Medicine Wheel Recovery Services, which is an organ addiction treatment center based in St. Helens, and specifically focuses on taking care of indigenous populations, mostly from the Midwest and the Great Plains Tribal Network. So basically, this nonprofit was paying to fly out patients to St. Helens, Oregon to provide treatment. But the messed up thing is that it was uncovered that if the patient that was flown over to St. Helens wasn't able to complete their program for whatever reason, Medicine Wheel wouldn't pay to fly them back home. They would just buy them a bus ticket to Portland with no plan in place. All they would give them is a street routes resources booklet and hope they could figure it out. So they basically said, like, you have to finish the program to get your ticket home, which is like, oh my God, how traumatizing is that?
Yeah.
Awful. So how was this even discovered? This part of it I am like obsessed with. So a man by the name of Jackson Pahl, P-A-H-L, I hope I'm saying that right. He's a former staffer for Portland Solutions. He was analyzing data for the city's reunification program, which works to connect people who are homeless with family members in their hometowns who are not from Portland. And basically he noticed an unusual amount of unhoused people in Portland who are from North Dakota and South Dakota. And then over time was able to make the connection to Medicine Wheel. And after digging into it more, city leaders are saying that they estimate that since 2018, around 420 people have been dropped off in Portland by Medicine Wheel.
That's so
I'm going to pause here because, whoa. What is the feeling about this right now?
Prison.
Brianna.
Jail. Prison. Back to jail. Back to prison. Back to jail. Back to prison.
So this is crazy because the reunification program that our mayor has championed has been so controversial because a lot of homeless activists are just like, you might be reunifying people to families they don't want to be in, situations they don't want to be in. You're just shipping people out. You're not giving resources. It's not empathetic. You're not really helping. Now you're just moving the problem somewhere else, whatever. But a lot of Portlanders who are a little bit maybe more on like not considered liberal or whatever have always been like, they're getting shipped in. All of these homeless people, they're not from here. They're getting shipped in. And everyone's just like, dude, calm down. Like, what the fuck are you talking about it? No, it's just the world. It's just homelessness. And then to find out they are getting shipped in. And the only reason we found out, which by the way, travesty, the fact that it's like an indigenous community totally being like fucked over. You know?
Yeah.
The reason we find out is because of this like not very super popular reunification program that a lot of homeless activists themselves were like, fuck this program. And it's just like, because we have this program, we actually found out that this terrible thing is happening. St. Helens. And also like, how much federal money is this Medicine Wheel getting? Do you know what I'm saying? Like it almost feels scammy. It's taxpayer funded, right?
It is. It's taxpayer funded, and the Oregon Health Authority reported that the nonprofit actually recently received a $1.6 million grant through the state's Behavioral Health Resource Network. So,
pitchforks. Get your pitchforks. Get your torches. We're going
seriously. Do we know, is Governor Kotick going to go there herself and just like...
with a pitchfork?
Yeah. Like, no, what's like, I know this was just reported,
yeah.
but I'm just curious, like, are there any follow-ups? Like, there's no way everyone's like, okay, cool, we found that out. Great, check, moving on.
Oh, no, for sure. So okay. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and then I'm going to answer your question, Claudia. So not only does this like soothe the wound of people who have been talking about like, they're shipping them in, whatever. And yes, sure, it's a conservative take, or it has been a conservative take, but there also have been people working within homeless services that have been saying, hey, like there are folks coming in from other states without any place to stay. What is going on? So there's some evidence here now. And also statistically, it might actually explain why there has been a major overrepresentation of Indigenous people who are homeless in Portland based off of demographic data. And like, just to give you some numbers, a 2022 count found Indigenous people made up 12.9% of the homeless population that year in Portland, despite representing only 2.5% of Multnomah County's population. Damn. And then 2025 analysis found Indigenous homelessness in Portland had more than doubled, climbing 118% in 2 years, which is the largest increase of any racial group who are experiencing homelessness in Portland, which is like, okay, obviously there's a connection here. But moving forward now to where we are right now, what is the city doing about this? So they brought this to Mayor Wilson's attention, and he decided that this was serious, obviously. And the city actually sent Medicine Wheel a cease and desist letter on January 9th, basically saying, knock it off or else. Yeah. And Medicine Wheel responded being like, yeah, you're right. Well, we're going to stop doing that. What? But it's not actually clear.
More should happen. A letter?
And then here, this is the thing too, is that it's not actually clear if they followed through with stopping this, stopping busing people to Portland who are not set up with resources. Medicine Wheel declined to comment when KGW reached out with this story. And there is actually some evidence that shows that in the time that they said they were going to stop, there's actually an example of somebody by the name of Geraldine Grassrope, a grandmother from a rural tribal community in South Dakota, having the same thing happen to them after the fact of them putting it out there saying that they were going to stop. This person was left 1,400 miles away from home without a phone or a place to stay, ended up having to find her own way to a Multnomah County Resource Center and then to another treatment center to get sober and end up back home in South Dakota. They've now been sober for 11 months, which is
that's awesome.
A huge amount of effort. And I'm sure it came with so much more. I'm sure it made matters worse. There's no way you get dropped off in the middle of nowhere and you're not worse off for it. And all of this could have been avoided. It's just such an incredibly irresponsible approach to trying to offer treatment to people. And I honestly, dare I say, I can't believe it. This is insane. This is an insane situation.
Is this a psyop? I mean, what's their success data look like? Or is it just like a psyop to send people like on the downslope into Portland so that they can validate that talking point? Am I crazy for thinking that?
I swear
Brianna's
to God.
conspiracy corner already. I love this.
We're going fully back around now.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I love, see, Brianna, that's where people's brains go because they're like, this isn't fitting neatly into my worldview, my politics. Yeah. And so,
well, it's so hard to believe because it's so disgusting. It's like, are we serious here, people? I'd rather believe that it's something unbelievable because this can't be happening, right?
Yeah,
we're taking like one of the most easiest to exploit groups of people and exploiting them down. Like who let that shit happen?
Using our own tax money. And the reason it happens so much is because their community is so underrepresented that it's never going to hit us. Do you know? Yeah. We don't know. Like, do you have deep ties with the Indigenous community in South Dakota? Like, do you know? Like, no.
We need to know how much that ED got paid. We need to know how much that ED got paid last year, the year before that. You know what I mean? Like, how much money do they get for every patient, and how much is that ED getting paid?
Sophie Peel, if you can hear us, we just need like a Sophie Peel.
I know, this is where we pass the baton.
I know. Well, she's getting a poke. Yeah. Damn. Well, Giulia, thanks for letting us know. For sure, we're going to be looking into this. I hope the state is also doing something. This isn't just like for our mayor, for the city of Portland, be like, hey guys, can you stop? This should be like a state thing, being like, dude, what are you doing? No. Yeah. Ugh. Well, you guys, this was, I got to tell you, two of the most intense headlines. I'm so glad that you two helped me go through them. So appreciate you both. I know there was a lot of research and reading on your all's part. So thank you. And listeners, I'm curious, anyone listening, were you part of the Red House protests?
Gosh, I want to hear from those people.
I want to know, like, how are you guys feeling about this? Like, if you feel comfortable, hit us up, portland@citycast.fm. Well, thanks again, you guys. Appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend, rate it, leave us a good review, and don't forget you can support this show and get great perks, possibly a tote bag, maybe a pennant. If you become a CityCast Portland neighbor, just visit membership.citycast.fm/Portland. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's for like the next 2 months, because I'm not going to be able to get out in my neighborhood, it seems.
Or in traffic on I-5.
Oh yeah, see you on the I-5.